Okay, everybody, welcome to our Cosmic TrailBlazers.
Life is meant to be fun.
Yes, and so it is. And we are having a great show today. It is the Money Show.
Hey, more money, please.
Well, it is March,
Yes.
Luck of the Irish, St. Patrick's Day. Kind of makes me think of money.
Absolutely. Gold for sure. Yay, gold. Money.
Yes, yay, gold.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to talk about different things, investing, money management, and all sorts of stuff so that we have more money in our pockets and less going to the man.
The man. More for us ladies, maybe instead. Hey? Send it to the lady.
So, how do you make money?
I make money by selling things on my Etsy site and on my own website. I'm a homeschool mom, but they don't pay you for that, so I can't make money that way, unfortunately.
I thought they did pay people for homeschooling nowadays. No, they don't?
That would be nice. It would be super smart if they did. What they do is, for homeschoolers, they will reimburse you money. So they'll reimburse you in Alberta right now. It is $850 for a year. And so you have to keep all your receipts for everything that you're buying. And I've had homeschool moms tell me that, they never spend as much as the money that they are getting, like the $850 or whatever. But I spent way more than that, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because this is my first full year of homeschooling, and so I'm like, ooh, why am I so spendy apparently? But we just needed like a laptop and school books and all kinds of things like that. So anyways, it was really fast and quick for me to spend that $850, which I then kept all the receipts for and sent them in. And hopefully that money is going to come back to me.
You make money through selling stuff, you said. So you're like me. We both have home businesses, and we sell products and services.
Yes.
And make money that way.
How do you make your money, Miss Cosmic Oracle?
Well, I have another business called The Moon Tree, and I do readings as well as sell chakra healing products and things like that. So I'll put the description down in below there if anybody's interested in checking that out. As well as I'll put your website too in case anybody wants to check you out as well.
That sounds delightful.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk first about is debt. You're married?
I am married. Yeah, have been for 12 years now. But we've been together for 20 years. So.
Ooh, okay, that's good. Congratulations, by the way. And who's the manager of the money? Do you manage the bills?
Yes, I'm the money manager. My hubs is the major breadwinner at this point.
Okay.
I am winning some of the bread, but just little buns here and there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. So I'm kind of in the same boat that way too. He's the main breadwinner, and I am not not the main breadwinner at this point. However, that's slowly changing. Let's talk about debt. Let's talk about debt, baby. Let's talk about you and me. What kind of debt do you and your family have?
For us, we have a mortgage, and we have a line of credit, and we have just a working visa that we use for because everything's online nowadays and it's not all PayPal. So sometimes you need to use a Visa. And so that's what we use our Visa for, but then we pay it off every month.
Okay, so you have basically credit card debt, a line of credit debt, and I'm not going to count mortgage debt at this point, although it is a debt, but it's sort of a different kind of debt. I want to talk about what I like to say, dirty debt. Dirty debt. That's the debt that is at such high interest rates, especially like credit card. And I wanted to talk a little bit about debt. It's probably the number one thing on our minds, and sort of where to start. Financially, where do we start? Well, paying debt off first is probably the number one thing, because then once the debt's paid off, you can use that money to put in investments or to, purchase something that is an asset and that, right? So I wanted to talk about paying debt first. Now, there was, a few years ago when I was at a point where I needed to break up, and I was pretty reliant on him for everything. However, I did have 3 months of savings. And what I mean by 3 months of savings is 3 months where if you had to go out on your own and rent and buy food and get your bills paid, do you have 3 months in case anything happens? And even if it's not to plan, if you're planning on breaking up, or if it's not about that, it's like, let's say something happens and your spouse, who's the breadwinner, suddenly can't win the bread, and maybe his insurance doesn't kick in for a while, or maybe just something really like you really need a new furnace because it just crapped out, or something, right? It's important to have like 3 months, and that's a good number to aim for. For saving these wages, because I'm glad I did, because then when it was time for me to leave, I was able to, have the children, as well as find a new place to live, and then have some time to get a job, right? So that, because I had to, and set up daycare and everything like that.
Are you saying 3 months worth of income, or are you saying more like 3 months worth of what it would cost to, because people need to figure that out, right? What is their 3 months? Because it can be different for everyone, right?
And that's exactly right. How much depends on what you need. At least 3 months of rent money, 3 months of bill money, and then that'll give you enough time to like get that job and not be so stressed out. If something in emergency happens, like your husband starts abusing you and you need to leave, for example, or whatever happens, right? I mean, it can be
they slip and fall and wrench their back or something to that effect. Like you said, the insurance wouldn't kick in immediately a lot of the time. So
it's important to have backup plan B for just, and plus if you use that money later, just have 3 months, makes you feel good. And you don't have to use it for living. You could use it for any kind of emergency, but it makes you psychologically feel better too about having that cushion in case you need it. And you don't have to worry about it all at once. What I'm asking you to do is, for every income that you get, whether it's taking out bottles, babysitting, getting money from your family, birthday presents, or your part-time job, or your side gig, which I think that every woman should have a side gig to bring in some income, but that's another story. But whatever income you get, put away 10% of it into that fund.
Yourself first fund, right?
The pay yourself first fund. Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So paying off debt as much as you can, as well as saving for the 3 months, I think are the number two most important things. Because once you get that, then you can start having fun. Starting an RSP plan, or starting a little, like what I did, I have RSP stuff with like professional guys that run it, but I also started a Wealthsimple. It's on Wealthsimple. It's called the Wealthsimple app, and trying my own investing. So I invested some in cryptocurrency and some in stocks, And one of the things I find now through testing, so I started that in November, and here's an example. My cryptocurrency account has gotten a 42% return, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody should invest in cryptocurrency though, because it is very volatile and I don't know where it's going. I don't know. Nobody knows anything about cryptocurrency. It's very new, right? But I'm just saying, taking a little bit of a chance with a little bit of money, right? And then also going into diversifying. So I've got some, stocks, and then I've got some into federal currency. And I wanted to show you something interesting. Here's an example of why it's important to diversify. So if you look at this chart, you'll see the red line here is the stocks and bonds, and the blue line is the currency, like Federal Reserve money. So basically the whole point is when one goes up, the other one goes down. This is an example of why it's important to diversify. You see what I mean? Like they're not this, they're a little bit the same at some points, sort of, and they both eventually go up through time, but there is sometimes big differences in the currency versus stocks. And so I found that once I started diversifying more and adding more of my stocks or my investments in both currency EFTs, like Federal Reserve money stuff, and then stocks, shares of stocks, if one goes down, the other one still kind of goes up. So it's not such a loss, for example, it doesn't hurt the heart so much. So it's here. That's an example of, diversification, I think, which is important. And, I kind of also think that diversification is really important in not just investing, in everything. Diversify how you get money. And that's another thing. How do you, what are other ways or other ideas, for example, that you can, let's say, make more money to save up for your 3-month fund as well as pay off debt, for example? What are some of the ways that you come up with?
Well, just look around your house for one thing. When you're going around and spring cleaning this spring, you don't have to just give it all away or throw it away, for sure. Don't be throwing it into the landfills and that kind of thing. Maybe put some of it onto Kijiji and send it off to a new home that way, and then also have a little bit of cash in your own pocket, right? And so, yeah, that would be one of my major things that I like to do. Sell it, get rid of it, right? And don't get me wrong, we give tons of it to Goodwill and that kind of thing, but a lot of the times we do try to put it onto Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, that kind of idea. How about you, Cosmic Oracle? What are you doing to get a little side hustle going on?
Well, besides selling it, which obviously that's awesome. I mean, every time I put something on the forum here on Facebook, the town forum, for the buy and sell kind of thing, I sells right away. You just have to make sure you take good pictures, good description. And I find it sells literally in 5 minutes. So selling it was awesome. Taking out your bottles, doing some side jobs, it could be starting a dog walking thing, and you'll get your exercise too. Do a subscription thing where you walk people's dogs, once a week for $39 a month or something. So basically, you're for every walk you're making $10, right? Or something that could, so side gigs are one thing. Another thing too is ask for a raise. Do you have a job right now? Ask for a raise. You probably deserve one. Okay. And then also, what about sometimes people just have to get a part-time job. It could be maybe doing daycare in your house. If you have children, you could do daycare in your house, or you could do an online tutoring thing to help students learn French better or math better or whatever, right? You could start a YouTube channel about, for example, you're a homeschool mom. You could, I know you got too much going, but I'm just saying an example. You could start a homeschool mom channel, right? How to, like that homeschool dad that the kids watch all the time on YouTube. It's awesome.
I love it.
Another thing too I wanted to say is Consolidation Loans. So let's say you have a bunch of Visa bills. Let's say you have 8,000 in debt on your credit card. So it's, a credit card is very expensive interest wise. But when you get a consolidation loan, or you get a loan from your bank, or a line of credit even, that gets, much lower, and you could save tons and tons of money on interest.
100%.
And that money could go towards paying off the debt as well, and maybe keeping a little bit to put towards your 3-month saving plan too, right? To start getting the ball rolling, start with something, right? Another thing too is cooking more of your own vegetables that you grow, learning about the old ways of living.
Right? Let's eat less junk food, right? Let's order in less. Like, sorry, skip the dishes and stuff is delightful, and we definitely want to keep all of these little businesses going, but you can't do it at the detriment to yourself. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Have you used Skip the Dishes, by the way? I was curious about that.
Not Skip the Dishes, because I don't think they're actually in our town, but DoorDash. We have used DoorDash.
Wait, I was thinking about those subscription food boxes that you get in the mail. Have you ever tried that?
I have tried one. Well, actually, I've tried a couple, I suppose. We had organic box coming to our house at one point with like organic vegetables. And
that's cool.
It was delightful. And it would make you think of different things to cook. It was not like the meal plan one, you know what I mean? Like, it was just order your vegetables basically. But
yeah.
How about you? Have you tried one of those?
Well, no, I was thinking of it, but then I think that the cost of it would outweigh the benefits for me. I actually enjoy cooking. Plus I find it saves a heck of a lot of money by cooking my own food, and not having things from a box as much, and I know it takes more time and not everybody's able to do that, but the most that you can is at least grow some of your own vegetables, because I find the grocery prices are skyrocketing, and I think that's due to inflation and things like that. But definitely, I think growing your own food and learning the old ways, like talk to your grandma and talk to your mom and talk to these people who knows about canning or other old ways of preserving food. I mean, even my neighbor, he knows how to preserve food in other ways, like how to keep potatoes all year downstairs and what to do. You use sawdust, all these tips from people to preserve your food that you've grown, and it saves money over time.
Absolutely. And then you can also share with your neighbors as well, share, like you said, your knowledge, right, with your neighbors that are just starting out their gardens and that kind of thing, if you've been gardening for a bit. And oftentimes, for us, we have a neighbor across the back fence that he's got a big garden, we've got a decent sized garden, and so we like to share back and forth, right? He might have a bumper crop for let's say beets, and we have a lot of potatoes or something, so we like to share back and forth.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And stuff too, when you go to the grocery store, don't buy the $8 watermelon. Instead, buy the $3 humongous bag of BC apples, right? Things like that, just little things go for a long way. And I try at my house not to waste anything. And here's an example. You got old bread, you cube it up and you can toast it with garlic butter and then put it away for some nice breadcrumbs or croutons or things like that, making your food even go further. So that's just some examples of little things.
Another thing to remember too is that it is all about your mindset. And so let's say you just finished buying yourself a shirt and then you were like, oh my God, that was such a waste. I should not have bought something like that, and you're kind of beating yourself up in your mind about it. But you have to remember that because you spent that money, somebody else is beating their children, right? And so if you could just get rid of the whole waste mindset, because it is it's a poverty mindset is what it is, right? So you need to kind of switch to abundance mindset. So about the whole gardening thing and that stuff, I think maybe that might be something we could do a wonderful show on. Would you guys like to see a gardening show and different ideas like that? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll put one together for you.
Ooh, I love gardening. We have a garden every year, and it's simple, but it works. And I can food, like got the skills from my mama, and then her family, and now, like, learning from the grandparents and stuff. There are people out there that are called financial brokers, and they work. You don't have to pay them; they do all the work for you. You just got to give them some information. So here's a picture of my financial broker. We're talking on Zoom here. And that's Justin, and he's actually saved, for example, my brother has saved $400 a month in mortgage. And he made, just by working with his investment portfolio, made him over $10,000 in just a few months by reworking his investment portfolio to something better. Another thing that he's doing for us, per se, is he's going to take all our debt, all our liabilities, like all our credit card debt, put it into the mortgage and get a new lower mortgage rate. This is thousands of dollars a month in savings, and then I'm able to put $100 a month of my own money into the future RSPs for children, for myself, and all that. The future, because we're all getting old and we retire at one point. So this is probably a very important getting, and I'm putting his information in the description below if you'd like to get in touch with him. I don't make money off this or nothing, but I just think Justin is that good, and he just helps you. He does everything for you. The way he gets paid is all these companies that he moves your stuff to, they pay him. So he gets paid a commission for every, but his job is to save you money and put more money in your pocket.
More money.
Do you think that's cool?
More money. I think that's pretty great. I think that right now, almost every person who has a mortgage could probably make an appointment with their financial person that they have their mortgage through. If it's not a variable mortgage, if you have a fixed mortgage and it is coming up for renewal fairly soon, I think you'd be pretty happy about that, because the mortgage rates have dropped so low in the last little while. That's delightful, and it's a really good thing to be able to shuffle everything around and take advantage of said mortgage rates. But you know what? Another quick thing too is that I wanted to say is the best thing that you can do for yourself, the number one thing that I would say is to educate yourself. Okay, so start reading a whole bunch of money books and
I see Tony Robbins' book. I took the course with Dean Graziosi, and Tony Robbins got together and made a course, and I took it, and it has to do with starting your own business as an influencer and as teaching courses and doing the online thing. But there is a whole bunch of money mindset in that course from those books. It's amazing.
Because he's so smart when it comes to money, and he's learned from the best, and then put it all together in,
a nice succinct little package. I know.
Small. It's pretty big.
Plus, he's like a good motivator. He'll get you off your butt and get you actually doing some stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and you were talking. You said something about that triggered my mind. Oh, if you have a fixed rate. Well, that's what I was worried about, because I had gotten us a fixed rate a year or two ago.
Oh, okay.
Because it was so low, right? It was at 2 point something. I can't remember exactly what it is right now. Maybe it's 2.4. I don't know. And at that time, that was pretty low, right? And I was like, yeah, heck yeah, we're gonna put that. And then I said, it's a fixed rate. Can you do anything with that? And he said, oh yeah, it's called a blah 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 and a blah blah blah. And then you'll get,
terms, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna get our mortgage for 1.7, which is pretty much a percentage lower
Beautiful.
than what we're paying now too. plus all that debt money we're going to save by putting it in the mortgage like that. The liabilities, they call it, they put it in the mortgage. So it's a win-win, right? Like, awesome. Like, why not move your money around to make it work for you?
100%. That's what it's there for, right?
Which leads us into
just the tip. All right,
just the tip.
Do you have a tip for us today?
I do have just the tip for you today. This is a tip for if you are a renter, because I know some of you are renting, and that's fine. Actually, sometimes renting can be more economical in the long run. Only if you do this. You save the difference for a down payment in the future, or for investing with that money in the future in property or real estate or something like that. What do I mean by this? Well, let's say you have a mortgage is around $1,800 for a fairly good house. Pretty good house. $1,800 mortgage is pretty good around these parts anyway. I don't know, everybody's different, but let's say your rent is $1,500. So that leaves a $300 difference. You should take that $300 and pretend like you're making a mortgage payment, but you take that $300 and put it away, maybe into your 3-month savings plan, or maybe into an RSP for your future house. Because in Canada, at least, there's a program where you can tax-free take out RSP money to make a down payment. So you could start putting in RSP, for example, which can actually grow your money over time. But anyways, $300 a month for 10 months, you'll already have $3,000. So let's say you do this for 3 years, you're going to have a really nice down payment for your special house, right?
Absolutely. And also another thing to keep in mind too is that, just like you said, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be a renter. It's also not necessarily a bad thing to get yourself a bit of credit card debt at the very beginning, because you need to have credit, and you can't get credit without having a credit card or some type of a loan or something like that. But you need to pay it off every month.
Yes.
Only if you can pay it off every month. And as soon as you can't, then you need to get rid of that credit card. Right? Until you can be like, okay, I'm back at zero for a month or two. We got this. We're okay. Now you fire up another credit card and just, again, only use it and pay it off at the end of the month.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of credit card, I forgot to say this at the credit card part when we were talking about consolidation loan to pay off credit card debt, for example. Number one, phone your credit card company and say, I want a lower rate, and see what they say. If they don't want to give you one, you say, okay, no problem. I have this other credit card company that wants to take over all this and I'm going to move it to there. Oh, no, wait, ma'am. Wait. We'll work something out with you, because by you being under them, they're getting your money, right? So they don't want you to leave. So you can use that to your advantage and negotiate and be powerful during those negotiations, because you can really get a really nice lower rate. And if it's not good enough, that's fine. There's a ton of credit card companies that want your business, and they will take on the debt out of. Some of them are even like an introductory 1% or 0% even to get your business, and then after 6 months or whatever, the 6 months of no interest is like awesome, right? Like, or even just really lower interest. You can save hundreds that way too. Okay. So think like that. Like, thinking like that is definitely a good thing.
Absolutely, I agree.
Now it's time for Word to Your Mom.
Mom today.
A lot of people are using affirmations and that kind of thing, and I just want to caution against that and say, instead of saying something like, I am a millionaire, or because don't get me wrong, I am statements are great. However, I think that you need to be in a different kind of a mindset than a lot of people are before you make these statements, and I don't think a lot of people take the time to get into said mindset first. So instead of saying those type of things, I would say, instead of saying the I am a millionaire or I have thousands of dollars pouring in, tell yourself things that you already believe, such as, I love the feeling of money. I love money flowing into me. I love the thought of having lots of money. I love feeling abundant. I love feeling wealthy. Instead of just the I am a millionaire, just I feel good. What are the feelings that you're going for when you're hoping to have all this money coming in? You want to feel good, right? So go for the feeling good now. That's a word to your mom. Word to your mom. I am affirmations are great, but if you don't believe them, then they're not helping you at all.
I did learn from this Japanese Zen guy who's all about, like, he's like a billionaire guy though, but he's really about into the spiritual side of money and attracting. And he taught me one thing that I wanted to share with everybody since we're talking about money. His name is Ken Honda, and he is a teacher in the Japanese art of being a Zen millionaire. And I find his teachings are quite fantastic, interesting, and easy to implement in my life. Every time you spend money and every time you receive money, you thank money. So you say, arigato money.
I read that, or I saw that.
Would you?
Yeah, arigato money.
Says you say arigato money in when you get it in. But if you're spending, you thank the money anyway, and you say arigato money out, but bring all your friends, right? When you come back. And I was like, that's cool. So I tried that for a week, and there was real miracles that happened. Like all these money things happened, and it was really cool. And it reminds me, I got to get back into that again.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing, remember how I said I had that like stuck on my wallet for like, again, a week or whatever, right? I'm like, I did that for a week too. But then I stopped.
Yeah.
It is a really great thing to do. But another great wallet trick is, I know nobody wants to use cash right now and that kind of thing. Cash is not really accepted everywhere. However, I think you should still have a wallet fat with cash. I always have $100 bill because you got to have a hundy, right? But then also have a whole bunch of just 5s, 10s, and 20s if you can, for sure. And if you cannot have even the 100 or all of the other stuff, just packet full of change. But every time you look at your wallet, you think to yourself, damn, my wallet's fat with cash, right? And and it's
I love that.
All about the feeling that it brings you, right? It's nothing to do with what it actually is, however much is in there. It might end up being like $17, but your wallet is still fat with cash. And that's the truth, right? Either way, it could be $1,700 and it would still be fat with cash, right? So
it really is, like we talked about, like we said, it's all in your mind. Everything's in our heads. Everything's in our head.
The whole game, yep.
Yeah. Our whole world, our whole reality is in our heads. So you do your best to try and reprogram your brain for all the good things and all the good juju, I think.
Absolutely. We really want you ladies to be able to thrive in 2021. We want you to be thrivers, not just survivors, right? Enough with the survival, getting us through this pandemic stuff. Let's freaking thrive through anything.
Yeah, and it's like that pandemic thing. So it opened up, for example, all these people that got rich off making masks.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm telling you, there was
I know
few people that made like, I don't know, it was like $75,000 in 1 year from making masks that they sold on Etsy. And then it led them to making more things like shirts and pants and whatever. But
they're
like
survivors, right? They found out what their thing was and they just run with it, man. You gotta
and it's finding opportunity when you think that there is none. Mm-hmm. Instead of looking at the glass half empty, you look at it as, well, I need a refill.
Me too. Oh.
So stuff like that.
All right, I guess we should hug it out then, hey? Get out. Let's hug it out.
All right, everybody, let's hug it out.
Hugs. Hugs for you. Juicy hugs.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining, and make sure you like and subscribe to us at Cosmic TrailBlazers. Why? Because
Life is meant to be fun.
Yay!